Uh, Good evening, good afternoon, and good morning. This is the 1048th day of continuous webinar conducted by International for Promoting Homeopathy. Today, our guest is Professor Dr. Balachandran from Chennai. Let us begin the session with 1 minute silent prayer. Thank you all. As you all know, International for Promoting Homeopathy is formed by a group of people, homeopathic lovers, homeopathic doctors, as well as homeopathic students. And we are conducting this session continuously for the last 1047 days. Today, our guest is Professor Dr. Balachandran, MD. He has achieved MD in Paediatrics in homeopathy, and he is the Senior Medical Officer Homeopathy at AIMS Patna, and former professor and HOD of Department of Practice of Medicine, RKDF University, Bhopal. He has presented in our Hindi session some days back, and will be presenting today. The subject is understanding the rubric Oedipus complex. As you know, this is a very good subject, and since this one is a big subject, he will be presenting in 2 to 3 parts in the coming months also. So let us welcome Professor Dr. Balachandran to take the session, and you can continue the session for 45 minutes, and then we will have a discussion later on. Welcome, sir.
Thank you, Dr. Danish. Am I audible to everyone? Is my voice clear? Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you, Dr. Danish, and namaste to one and all the members of IFPH or the viewers of IFPH forum. It was my pleasure to take the class for today regarding the understanding of the rubric Oedipus complex. And since, as Danish sir said, this is a big topic, I have divided into 2 to 3 sessions. And before we begin further, let me share the screen. Kindly, Dr. Danish, could you enable the sharing, please?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You can do it.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
Yes. You can do it, sir. Now you can do.
Okay. Yeah.
Please wait 1 minute. Let me make sir, please wait 1 minute. I am going to mute all, and then we can come to, otherwise disturbance are coming. Okay, sir. Now you can begin. Sir, please unmute. You are muted, sir.
It has been muted.
Yes.
Default. Yes. Right. So today's session is regarding understanding the rubric Oedipus complex. I hope the screen is visible to everyone and my voice is audible. If you have any doubts, kindly post your comments in the chat section, or else you kindly note down your doubts so that you can raise the doubts at the end of the session. Right. Now, since this is a new topic to everyone, if you want to have a deeper understanding of this particular rubric Oedipus complex, we have to understand it in a much deeper way, for which a single session is not sufficient to complete it. So I have made the sessions into 2 to 3 parts, whereby in the first part, you'll be understanding what is the prefix of this particular word Oedipus. Where does the word Oedipus come from? What's the story behind Oedipus? And then who have introduced the word Oedipus complex? That will be a second session, where you will be studying about a part of the psychology called the psychoanalysis, whereby you will be studying about the psychosexual stages, which was introduced in the psychoanalysis by Dr. Sigmund Freud. And the last session will be the Oedipus complex rubric in homeopathy. So that will be the last session. In order to understand the importance of the rubric Oedipus complex, we have to understand the history behind why the word Oedipus complex has come from, where from the word Oedipus complex has come from, who has introduced it, and whether this particular Oedipus complex is just a theoretical matter or is it practically applicable in day-to-day life? And you might be wondering why I have chosen this particular topic, Oedipus complex, because there were many rubrics in our repertories, like you have the fear, we have the irritability, irascibility, okay, delusions. So these are the very vast chapters in the mind section of any repertories if you take. But this Oedipus complex is a rare rubric which is not taken in the day-to-day practice, as I suggested the other rubrics which comes to use in the day-to-day practice. But this is a very important rubric, and this is the rubric which is very less talked about. And you might be wondering why it is a rare rubric. You'll get to know the answers when we start the session and proceed further, right? Now, let us understand what is the Oedipus complex. Introduction about Oedipus complex. So the attachment of a child to the parent of the opposite sex, accompanied by envious and aggressive feeling towards the parent of the same sex, is called the Oedipus complex in short. So if a boy is there, if the boy child is attached to his mother, okay, which is the opposite sex of the boy, and when it is accompanied by an envious and aggressive feeling towards the parent of the same sex, that is towards his father, then that is called as Oedipus complex. A boy very much attached to mother, but having an aggression or envy or jealousy towards his father is called as Oedipus complex. Okay, these feelings are largely repressed. Repressed means it is not exhibited outside. It is kept in the unconscious state or the subconscious mind, because there's a fear of displeasure or punishment by the parent of the same sex, that is by the father. Okay, in the examples, I will use the boy as the one who will develop an Oedipus complex, whereby he is attached to the mother, and whereas he is having the aggression, envy, or hostility towards his father. So that will be the classical example. Okay, in its original use, the term is applied only to male, that is to a boy or a man. So Oedipus complex refers to an attachment of a boy to his mother, accompanied by envious and aggressive feeling towards his father. So that is Oedipus complex in short. Okay, right. When you are going to see what is the origin of this Oedipus complex, where from the word Oedipus complex have been derived from? The term Oedipus complex is derived from the character called as the Oedipus Tyrannus, which is an Athenian tragedy play called the Oedipus Rex, written by Sophocles, a poet, between the years 430 to 426 BCE. So this is the time period whereby this play has been written, and it is written by Sophocles in the year 430 to 426 BCE. The tale name, you can see the book on the image given. The name of the book is called the Oedipus Rex, and the character depicted in this particular Oedipus Rex is called the Oedipus Tyrannus. Okay, and this was written by Sophocles. And in the image down, you can see the image, the statue or the portrait of Sophocles, who has written this particular tragedy play. Okay, it is one among the three plays written by Sophocles. One is Oedipus Rex, second is Oedipus at Colonus, and third is Antigone. So these are the three tragedian plays written by Sophocles, among which today's topic we are going to consider about his work of Oedipus Rex. Okay, right. Now, to understand it, let us study the tale of Oedipus. So today's session will be about the history of Oedipus, where from the word Oedipus has come from. Okay, we are going to study the tale of Oedipus, and the tale goes likewise. The tale is a bit interesting. What I would recommend is those viewers who are present in today's session, if they are continuing the further session, they will be understanding the further rubric, further meaning of this rubric. So what I would recommend is those who are attending today's session, kindly continue the session, which I will be taking in a few days later on, because this session will be continued in the next further sessions. If you are not attending the first session, it will be difficult for you to attend the further sessions. So kindly, everyone, kindly give your ears very sharp to the tale in order to understand the rubric better. So what's the tale of Oedipus? There's an ancient city called Thebes in the central Greece, which was once ruled by a king Laius and Queen Jocasta. The couples were blessed with a son who was later named as Oedipus, not by them, but by some other people. Shortly after the birth of Oedipus, his father, King Laius, learned from the oracle of Delphi that Laius will be doomed to perish by the hand of his own son, and so ordered his wife, Queen Jocasta, to kill the infant. So there was a prediction given by the oracle of Delphi. Oracle of Delphi is a soothsayer or prophesier who used to predict the prophecy or the further future events of the royalty kings. So whenever when King Laius and Jocasta gave birth to a male child, they took the boy, the infant, to Oracle of Delphi, who is as a soothsayer in the temple of Apollo in Greece, whereby the Oracle of Delphi, or she is called as Pythia, has predicted the boy's prophecy in such a way that his the kingdom which will be ruled by this boy will be perished, and his father, King Laius, would be killed by the own hand of his son. And after killing his father, he would try to marry, or he will marry his own mother. This is what the prediction has been given by the Oracle of Delphi at the temple of Apollo. Hearing this, Queen Jocasta and King Laius was shocked, because any of these events here, the Oracle has given two predictions. One, the kingdom would perish and the boy would kill his own father. That was one prediction. And second prediction was, after killing his father, he would try to marry, or he would marry his own mother. So there were two predictions given by Oracle of Delphi, and both the predictions are not a good one. Both are disastrous. So to prevent this particular prophecy from coming true, the king and the queen decided to get rid of the child. So what they have done, Queen Jocasta has called one of her slaves, and she has given the order to the servant to tie both the legs of the infant or the boy together with a rope very tightly, so that the boy will not escape. And on the fourth day of birth, the boy would be left alone in a mountain called as the Mount Cithaeron. Okay, and he would be left there so that the wild beast roaming there, a tiger or a lion or some kind of a cannibal or a man-eater, would come and eat away the boy. So in that way, if we get rid of the child, then none of the prophecy will come true in the near future. The king and the queen firmly believed that the prophecy would come true, because the particular prophecy here, the Oracle of Delphi, is very famous for her prediction, which most of her predictions have come true. So they don't want this to happen. So this is the order given by the Queen Jocasta to get rid of her child by tying the ankles together with a rope tightly, and leave the child in the Mount Cithaeron, and to be left alone so that the boy would be eaten by any wild beast, man-eater roaming over there. So the slave has to obey the orders given by the queen. So the slave half-mindedly, half-heartedly took the child to the Mount Cithaeron, and since the servant was feeling very pity for the child, no one will be having the heart to kill the child. So without knowing what to do, when the servant was about to put the boy on the Mount Cithaeron, there came a shepherd who was rearing his cattle, the goats and sheep, to whom the servant has handed over the boy and said to get rid of the boy from here, mountain, from the Mount Cithaeron, and to take him elsewhere. The shepherd was from a city called Corinth, which is on the other side of the mountain Cithaeron. Okay, and what this particular shepherd has done, the shepherd has loosened the tight knot, which has been held very strongly in the legs and the ankles. He has loosened the ropes, he has cut away the ropes, and he said that I will take the boy away to Corinth, so that the Queen Jocasta or King Laius will never know that the boy has been there. And he told the particular servant to tell the queen and king that the boy has been, the order has been obeyed, as you said, to leave the boy over the Mount Cithaeron, and some wild beast has taken and eaten away the boy. And don't ever reveal to the king or queen that the boy has been given to me. That is what the shepherd has told to the particular the servant. So what did the shepherd do? The shepherd freed the ankles, which were being injured by being pinned together with the help of the particular rope, and he took the boy to the city of Corinth. The city of Corinth was ruled by a separate king. The king's name was King Polybus, and the queen's name was Queen Merope, otherwise called Queen Peribia. They were childless and they were very worried. The King Polybus and Queen Merope were childless. They were not having children, and they were very worried that who will take away the throne after the demise of King Polybus. So they were very worried at the time. So in order to make the king happy, the shepherd has given this particular boy whom he received from the servant at the Mount Citeron, and the boy has been handed over to the king Polybus and Queen Merope, and he said that to rear the child or to bring the child as their own child, as the king and queen's own child. So the king and queen, who were worried, now became very happy that they were blessed with the child who has been orphaned and who is now the stepfather and stepmother to bring the child up. They never revealed that they were the boy's stepmother or stepfather, and they brought this boy up as if the boy was their own child. Okay, and it was King Polybus and Queen Merope who has named the boy as Oedipus. Why the word Oedipus? Because the word Oedipus comes from two words, edema and pus. The word Oedipi means Oedipus. The word Oedipus means a swollen foot. And why the foot was swollen? It is because of the injury which was elicited by tying the foot or the ankle together with a tight rope, which was as commanded by the Queen Jocasta to one of their servants. Okay, so the word Oedipus comes from edema, which we know means a swelling, and the word pus means a leg or foot. Okay, the word pus, you come to know the word pus in words like octopus, what to say, a sea creature which will be having 8 legs. So the octo means 8 and pus means legs. So it is having 8 legs. It is called octopus. Likewise, here is the word Oedipus. The word Oedipus means a swollen foot. Since the boy was brought with a swollen foot, the king and the queen has named the boy as Oedipus. So when Oedipus reached the adolescent stage, someone calls him a bastard, means a boy who is born of an illicit relationship. So in order to learn the parentage, he has asked his parents, means his stepmother and stepfather, King Polybus and Queen Merope, regarding his birth, which they rejected to reveal to him regarding his real parentage. So in order, he was very curious to know his parentage. So what he has done, he left over to the same Oracle of Delphi, who has given the prophecy to his biological father and mother, King Laius and Queen Jocasta. He has proceeded towards the Oracle of Delphi, the Temple of Apollo, to meet the Oracle of Apollo. So after Oedipus met with the Oracle of Apollo, the same prophecy which was told to Queen Jocasta and King Laius was heard from the very own ears of Oedipus for the very first time, that Oedipus would kill his father and would sleep or marry his own mother. Okay, and Oedipus was shocked to hear this kind of prophecy being given from the Oracle of Delphi, because he also firmly believed that this prophecy will come true, because the Oracle of Delphi, as I stated, is very famous for her predictions to come out to be very true. So to prevent this prediction from coming true, Oedipus firmly believed that his father and mother were the stepfather King Polybus of Corinth and Queen Merope of Corinth. Oedipus does not know his real parents were King Laius and Queen Jocasta, who were ruling the Thebes. Okay, so in order to prevent this prediction from coming true, Oedipus, instead of going to Corinth, has now turned his direction away, and he has proceeded to go towards Thebes, which is now nowhere related to Corinth. Okay, right. So what happens when he is on the way to Thebes? Oedipus ran into an old man who was King Laius himself, who was driving a chariot and who was coming from Thebes towards the Delphi. There were 3 roads which were meeting together, which was very narrow lanes. And now Oedipus is coming from Delphi towards Thebes, and King Laius, who was as an old man now, is coming from Thebes towards Delphi. So they meet each other in the narrow lane where the 3 roads meet. Now what happens? Oedipus says to King Laius, without knowing that he is the King Laius, he said that you take your chariot backwards so that I can proceed into the Thebes. Whereas the king disagreed with the Oedipus, and the king has said Oedipus to take his chariot backwards so that he can go forward into the Delphi. Now there were very hot words being exchanged between Oedipus and King Laius, and out of ego, Oedipus has killed Laius without knowing that he is the king of Thebes, and he has cut his head away. Okay, now you can see a prediction is coming true. Fine. And this is happening as Oedipus thought he is a chariotman who is taking the chariot away, who is a driver of the chariot, and he does not know that it was King Laius himself who was driving the chariot. Okay, so this has happened. He has killed the King Laius without knowing that he is killing his own father or the kingdom ruler of Thebes. Okay, this has happened, and now Oedipus is progressing into the kingdom of Thebes, right? Now, here is a picture. It was not there in yesterday's class, which I included now. This is the Oracle of Delphi, the Pythia. As you can see in the middle of the figure, as you can see, a lady is sitting, whereby she is surrounded by mysterious smoke or steam, which is a ritual which so happens before prophesying. The Pythia or the Oracle of Delphi used to get into a trance, and she used to blabber words which is unknown to the layman, which will be decoded only by the soothsayers or the priest who are there in the temple of Apollo. So this is a very good image whereby the Oracle of Delphi is predicting or prophesying soothsaying, and there were priests who are surrounding her who are trying to decode what she is speaking, because she is just blabbering. No one can understand her words. Only the priest could understand what she is saying. Now, we are continuing with the tale. Oedipus has returned to Thebes. Now, what has happened? The entrance of the city Thebes was guarded by a sphinx. A sphinx, for those who does not know, is a mythical creature whereby the upper half of the body is that of a woman and the lower half of the body is that of a tiger, the lion, and she is having a wings. Okay, this is a mythical creature called as a sphinx. You can hear about the sphinx in the Egyptian tales. And if you are going to visit Egypt, the Pyramid of Giza, you can see the statue of Sphinx being erected as a guardian to the royalty. Okay, and you can see the Sphinx there in the statue of Sphinx being depicted in the city of Egypt, just guarding the Pyramid of Giza. Right now, what does the Sphinx do? The Sphinx is there guarding the city of Thebes, or rather, the Sphinx is controlling the city of Thebes. And the Sphinx, there is a tale that the Sphinx is going to riddle anyone who is going to come inside the Thebes. And when the Sphinx is asking a riddle, when someone is going to answer the riddle correctly and asked by the Sphinx, then that person will be allowed to let inside the kingdom of Thebes. And if suppose they are going to fail answering the Sphinx riddle, or if they give a wrong answer, the Sphinx is going to eat away the person who has told the wrong answer, who has failed to answer the riddle of Sphinx, right? And the Sphinx also says to Oedipus that no one has answered my question very correctly till today or till now, and I have eaten many people. So if you are dare enough, you can answer my riddle and get inside, or else you can fly away, return to your place wherever you have come from. Now, Oedipus wants to take this as a challenge. So what he is telling to Sphinx is, you asked me the riddle, I will try to answer your question. If I don't answer the question correctly, you can eat away as your wish. And now the Sphinx is asking the question, who walks on 4 feet in the morning, 2 in the afternoon, and 3 at the night? This was the question asked by the Sphinx to Oedipus. The question was, I'm repeating again, who walks on 4 feet in the morning, and 2 in the afternoon, and 3 at the night? So this was the question asked by Sphinx to the Oedipus. Now, what does Oedipus answer? He has answered the question very correctly after a few minutes of thinking, and the answer came out to be man. Now, for those who are riddled by this particular question, how come a man is the answer? You can take this in this way. A man crawls on 4 feet as an infant, which is in the morning. That means on the start of the day. And the infancy is the start of the day. Okay. And he walks on 2 legs as an adult person in the middle age group. That is in the afternoon time. That means in the middle of the age group or in the middle of the day. And next, he walks with a stick in the old age. That is at the night. That is at the end of the day. Or means that is at the end of his lifetime. That is in the olden age. He walks on 3 sticks, 3 legs. That means 2 legs of his own, and 1 is a walking stick which aids him in walking as a support. So this was the answer given by Oedipus, which turns out to be true. And the Sphinx, as it has promised, it has led Oedipus to further enter into the city of Thebes, and the Sphinx has committed suicide by jumping out of a cliff and murdering itself. Now, this is a figure whereby the Sphinx, as you can see, the upper part of a female body and the lower part of a lion with the wings is questioning the Oedipus, who is trying to enter into the city of Thebes. So the Sphinx killed itself by jumping off a cliff, and the city of Thebes has welcomed Oedipus. And as you are aware that since the king Laius has been killed, the queen Jocasta has become a widow, and now the kingdom is without a ruler, without any king. So Queen Jocasta has offered her hand to as a marriage to Oedipus, so that Oedipus can marry Queen Jocasta and become the king of Thebes and can rule away the kingdom. And for those viewers, Oedipus is unaware that he is trying to marry his own mother, because as per Oedipus, Queen Merope, the ruler of Corinth, is his mother. Okay, so he's unaware that Queen Jocasta is his own mother. So he also taken the bait, and he has married the widow Queen Jocasta, and he has now become the husband of Queen Jocasta, the king Oedipus, and he is trying to rule away Thebes. Years passed away while the new king Oedipus is ruling over Thebes, and Queen Jocasta and King Oedipus is blessed with 4 children, 2 sons and 2 daughters. The 2 sons' name is Polynices and Eteocles, and 2 daughters' names are Antigone and Ismene. Okay, and the time has been moving on. Okay, when the children are about to turn into their adolescent phase, at the time the city of Thebes was infected by a very severe or very dreadful, horrifying plague, and there have been famine and poverty ridden in the kingdom of Thebes. Remember the prediction given by Oracle? Oracle would say, Oracle has given a prediction that whatever kingdom will be ruled by Oedipus will be demolished or will be devastated. So that is what is happening to the kingdom of the Thebes, which is ruled by Oedipus. Okay, now Oedipus is very worried because under his rule, he is seeing his own citizens or the subjects of his kingdom being affected by poverty, plague, and famine. So what he has done, he wants to save the city. So he has ordered his brother-in-law Creon, who is a brother to Queen Jocasta, to consult the Oracle of Delphi to find out the solution, how to come out of this plague. Now, what did Creon do? Creon has proceeded towards the Oracle of Delphi at the Temple of Apollo. The same oracle was given the prediction to Queen Jocasta and King Laius, and the same oracle who has given the prediction to Oedipus himself. Now, Creon has gone to Oracle of Delphi, and Creon consulted her and asked her what is the solution to come out of this particular disaster that they are facing in the kingdom of Thebes. The Oracle of Delphi has given the solution to Creon, which the Creon is saying to King Oedipus now that the plague is because the person who has killed the king Laius is roaming free in the city of Thebes, and unless and until this particular murderer of King Laius is brought to justice and being punished, till that time this plague will never come to an end. So this was the prediction or the news that Creon has received from the words of Oracle of Delphi. Now, hearing this, Oedipus is taken an oath, or he has promised to find out the murderer, and he has cursed the particular murderer for the plague that has been caused by him, for which the people are suffering in the city of Thebes. Okay, now what happens now? Oedipus summons the blind prophet called as the Tiresias. He is also a predictor or the soothsayer or a prophesier in the same temple of Apollo. And why Oedipus summons the blind prophet Tiresias is because the Tiresias, the prophet, claims that he knows the answer to the question Oedipus was seeking answer. That is, who killed the king Tiresias? Who killed the king Laius? Tiresias knows the answer. Who was the murderer? Who killed the king Tiresias? So for knowing the answer, Oedipus summons the prophet Tiresias to his kingdom. Okay. When Tiresias comes to meet Oedipus, Tiresias first refuses to speak because he thinks that if he knows the truth, then he won't accept, or else he would be shocked about to hear the news, to know the real murderer for the king Laius. So first, Tiresias refuses to speak as he thinks that the truth brings nothing but pain. And Tiresias advises Oedipus to abandon his search. But when Oedipus got angered, hearing that Tiresias refuses to speak in front of the king, he is now provoking Tiresias to answer the question, to give away the answer, or else Tiresias would be punished with a capital punishment. That is, his head would be chopped off and he would be murdered by the king's order. So now Tiresias, very reluctant to give away the answer, says that it was King Oedipus himself who has murdered the king Laius, and it was Oedipus who is the murderer. Now, after hearing this answer of Tiresias, Oedipus dismisses the answer as it's a sheer nonsense, and Tiresias was trying to bring a blame, or trying to bring disrespect, or a what to say, blame upon the king, so that the particular throne will be taken away and Creon will rule away the kingdom. So thinking this, that it is some kind of a plan organized by Tiresias and Creon, Oedipus dismisses this as nonsense, and he accuses the prophet of being corrupted by the ambitious Creon in an attempt to undermine him. And he says to Tiresias to return back to the temple of Apollo, as he is not satisfied with the answer what he has given, and he thinks he is lying. Now, Tiresias, before leaving towards the temple of Apollo, gives a riddle to the king, that I will give a riddle to you. If you can able to find out the answer, you have found out who is the murderer of the king Laius. Now, he has given the riddle in such a way. The murderer of Laius will turn out to be both the father and brother to his own children, and the son of his own wife. This is a very good riddle that Tiresias has given to the king Oedipus, that it's a clue to find out who is the murderer of the king Laius. If you know the answer to this riddle, you have found out who had murdered the king Laius. Now the riddle is, the murderer of Laius will turn out to be both the father and brother to his own children, and the son of his own wife. Now Oedipus's wife, Queen Jocasta, tells him that he should not take the words of prophets and oracles seriously, because many years ago, Queen Jocasta and Laius received a prophecy which never came true. What was the prophecy? The prophecy said that Laius would be killed by his own son. But people believed, and Jocasta, she believed, that Laius was actually killed by bandits at the crossroads on the way to Delphi. Means crossroads where the three roads meet together. That was the area, or that was the place where King Laius has been killed, not by his son, but by some bandits or some robbers or thieves who are trying to enter into the Thebes. Okay. Now, after mentioning the word, the crossroads, or the area where the three roads meet, this has made Oedipus to think about his past, and he suddenly becomes worried that Tiresias' accusation may actually have been true, because Oedipus has killed someone on his way when he entered the Thebes at the crossroads where the three roads meet together. Remember the fight between the old man who was driving the chariot, who was King Laius himself, and it was Oedipus who was driving the chariot in the opposite direction, and he has beheaded the particular old man who was driving the chariot out of ego, and he was remembering this particular situation. Now, when this has been happening, there was a messenger from the city of Corinth, who arrives at the kingdom of Thebes and has said a worrying news to the king Oedipus, that the king Polybus, who was ruling the Corinth, is no more. He has died. Now, Oedipus was shocked to hear the news, because his stepfather, as we know, and his own father, as Oedipus thinks, has been died. And he was also feeling a bit happy that his father is not killed by his own hands. That means prophecies are never coming to be true, as stated by his wife or his mother, that is Queen Jocasta. Okay, and he fears somehow the half of the prophecy has not come to be true. That is, he has not murdered his own father. That is what he thinks to be his own father. That is King Polybus. But the other half of the prophecy is still left behind, that he can still marry his own mother, which he thinks to be Queen Merope, who is still alive at the kingdom of Corinth. Okay, and the messenger who has come from the Corinth, as he has read the Oedipus's mind, he thinks that don't get worried. This prophecy, what you think, will never come out to be true, because you are Queen Merope is not your own mother. Okay, so this was told by the shepherd, and it comes to be known that this particular messenger has come all the way from Corinth towards Thebes to say the worrying news that King Polybus is no more, is actually the same the individual who has taken this particular boy, the shepherd who was from Corinth, who has taken the boy as a child, infant, and who has handed over the boy to King Polybus and Queen Merope. So he was the same shepherd who has now come as the messenger to deliver the news. Okay. And he was the same messenger or the shepherd who has also witnessed the Oedipus killing his own father, King Laius, at the crossroads, which he has thought that no one has witnessed. Okay. Now, by now, Queen Jocasta is beginning to realize the truth and desperately begs Oedipus to stop asking further questions. But Oedipus presses the shepherd, threatening him with torture and execution, until finally the truth comes out that the child he gave away for adoption to Polybus was Laius' own son, and that Jocasta has been given the baby to her slave to be secretly killed in Mount Cithæron for fear that the prophecy might come out to be true. Okay, now Oedipus now hears the final truth that actually he is the son of Queen Jocasta and King Laius, and he has been given away to kill to one of the slaves of King Laius and Queen Jocasta to be executed or to be tied away in the legs and left over in the Mount Cithæron to be eaten away by the wild beast, whereby the servant has given the child to the particular messenger who has come now, the shepherd, to be taken over to Corinth and given to King Polybus and Queen Merope to raise as his own child. Now he is now coming to hear the truth for the very first time. And it was the Oedipus who has killed his own father, that's King Laius, who was ruling the city of Thebes at the crossroads, without Oedipus knowing that he killed his own father, that's King Laius. Now, when the truth finally revealed, Oedipus curses himself and his tragic destiny and stumbles off as he found the answer to Tiresias' riddle. Now, you remember what was Tiresias' riddle? That he would give a clue to the one who has murdered King Laius. The riddle was the murderer of King Laius would turn out to be both the brother and father to his own children, and he would be the son and husband to his own wife. Okay, now that turns out to be Oedipus. Oedipus is both brother as well as father to his own children, and he is both son and husband to his wife or mother, Queen Jocasta. Okay, now after getting the answer from Tiresias' riddle, and after realizing that this is the truth, now he is very much worried that he has committed a very great sin. Now at the time, a servant enters and explains that Queen Jocasta had begun to suspect the truth and had run to the palace bedroom and hanged herself there. Queen Jocasta committed suicide because she unknowingly has married her own son and has given birth to 4 children, which is never accepted socially. Right? That's a taboo. So now Oedipus enters deliriously, calling for a sword so that he could kill himself, and raging through the house until he comes upon Jocasta's body. In the final despair, Oedipus takes 2 long gold pins from her dress and plunges into his own eyes, blinding himself. Now blind, Oedipus begs to be exiled as soon as possible, means to be sent out of the kingdom as a refugee out, and ask Creon to look after his 2 daughters, Antigone and Ismene. As the boys are grown up, they know to take care of themselves. It is the daughters who are very young, or his sisters who are very young. So he asked his brother-in-law Creon to take over the throne as the king of the Thebes, because Jocasta has committed suicide, and now Oedipus is blind, and taking a great burden on his own, that he has married his own mother and he has killed his own father. So he asked Creon to exile himself from the kingdom so that the plague will vanish away and the people will enjoy the olden days. And he asked the Creon king, his brother-in-law, to take care of his two daughters, Antigone and Ismene, who are still very young. Right now, the question would come to the viewers as to why Oedipus has not murdered himself. Instead, he has blinded himself. Now, the first thought which has come to Oedipus was to commit a suicide by plunging a sword upon his own body to kill himself. But later on, it has come to know that he has committed a act of injuring his own eyes with the two needles found in the dress of Queen Jocasta, his beloved mother or his wife, and he has plunged the needles in his own eyes, blinding himself, because he does not want to show his face, or he does not want to see the world, whereby he has murdered his own mother, and he has given birth to the children to whom he is both brother as well as father. What would the people say, or what would the people give a grimace when seeing his face in the public? So he does not want to show his face to everyone. So that is why he blinded himself, that he could not see the world, whereby people who are once praising him as a great king is now going to blame him for such a blunderous act committed by him. Okay, so he blinded himself. Now there is an image here, a drawing painting whereby you can see King Oedipus blinding his own eyes with the help of two needles, golden long needles, which is found in the dress of Queen Jocasta herself. So that's the story of Oedipus. I think 45 minutes have elapsed now. I think we'll conclude this session for today with this particular story. And in next session, we'll be continuing into the Oedipus complex in psychology. Because if I'm going to start now, it would be unfinished, because it's again a big topic. And thereby, next further session will be going into the importance of Oedipus complex as a rubric in the homeopathic part. Now, till now, if you have any doubts regarding this tale, any part whereby you cannot understand it, you can ask me, and I would ask the host to take away the session. Yeah.
Yes, sir. It's a really this Oedipus beautiful way with doing why this Oedipus becomes such a person and how he has changed a lot, and what is the end of this story also. Anyway, this is something that the purpose of your presentation is to make aware how homeopathic doctor will have to look into all these things.
Yes.
Am I right, sir?
Yes.
Yes, and yes, then in the second edition of your presentation, you may be stating how the rubric can be developed from the story itself.
Yes. Yes.
Am I right, sir?
Yes.
Yes.
Sir. The main purpose of eliciting this tale, as people would know, but this is not related to homeopathy. The part which I have taken today, the history regarding the tale of Oedipus, is not related to homeopathy part. And people might be thinking that I'm just eliciting a long tale which is having a no head or tail with the topic actually understanding of the rubric, but it is having a deep impact upon the rubric when you are going to process it further. Actually, my way of teaching my students or my viewers in such a way that I want to give a full in-depth knowledge regarding how this has been derived, the etymology of this particular rubric, and why it has been included, and what is the importance behind it. So the one who is going to see the rubric now in the repertory, automatically their mind will be running why this rubric has come into the homeopathic literature, what is the exact meaning of this rubric, and why this particular word has been illustrated. This is a new rubric which you would not find in many of the repertories. For example, you don't find the word Oedipus complex as a rubric in complete repertory, or you don't find this rubric in Boger's Bonin-Gozens or in Kent repertory or in synthetic repertory. In nowhere you can find this particular rubric. It is found only in the synthesis, and it is given as a rubric in the radar computer repertory. So this is something new, and I want to enlighten the people regarding this particular rubric, for which the tale has to be told, without which you cannot understand the further sessions, for which I have elicited this particular story for today.
Yes, Anyway, it's a very beautiful presentation. And
Yeah.
your storytelling ability is something great. Just like you're running, just like a cricket commentary, you're going from one ball to another. Just like you're delivering all these things with the powerful words also.
Thank
And
you.
that is something great as far as the story is
Dr.
concerned.
Danesh,
And that will
Dr.
definitely.
Danesh, I'm aware of my weaknesses
Yes,
and
sir.
strength, and storytelling is one of my strengths. So that was one reason I've taken this particular topic also.
Yes, that's
Yeah.
anyway, it's a beautiful presentation, and it's the time to interact with Dr.
Yes.
Professor Balachandran. And those who want to speak, raise your hand and ask your question, and also you can say something about that also, the story itself. And I think Dr. Sri Parit Bhavak and one of the homeopathic lover. He is very much interested, maybe thrilled with the story from
Acha.
you, because a homeopathic doctor can do such wonderful story tells. So I invite Mr. Parit Bhavak and sir
Hello, thank you.
to
Dr.
say something.
Balachandran, you have
Yes, sir.
done a marvelous work. Wonderful job, no doubt about that. Nobody can elucidate this story beautifully as you have done. I was really thrilled to listen to that story. That story was simply not a simple one, it's a complicated story. But that is required to be told before going to our topic. That's very good. I welcome to you all. Your presentation is very talented and very interesting also. All the best. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Doctor. Glad you liked the story well. And the credit goes to Sophocles himself. I'm just narrating his storyline. That's all.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, there is a question in the chat box. What happened to Oedipus after blinding himself?
When Oedipus got blinded, what has happened is Oedipus has given a plea to the king Creon to exile him from the city of Thebes so that the plague would vanish away. And as per the prophecy given by Oracle of Delphi, that the murderer of Laius should be brought to justice, right? And then only the plague will come to an end. So to get it done, King Oedipus has given a request to the king Creon now, the former king Oedipus. Now he's not the king no more, right? He has crowned his brother-in-law Creon as to be the king now of Thebes. Now Oedipus has asked we cannot say asked, he has requested the present king Creon to send him out of this Thebes. Now Creon did not accept the offer that Oedipus has requested the Creon to exile him from Thebes. So what he has done, Creon has sent a messenger to the Oracle of Delphi again to give away the news that the murderer of Laius has been found out to be the former king Oedipus himself, and he is asking to send him out of the town of Thebes to be exiled away. Whether this request of King Oedipus would be accepted or not, that has to be declared by the Oracle of Delphi. So he is waiting for the news. Until that, he is requesting King Oedipus, the former King Oedipus, to spend away his time with his children before he has been exiled from the city of Thebes. Now, meanwhile, he is spending his time with his 2 daughters and 2 sons. And at last, what happens? That's the next story. I told you that Sophocles has written 3 stories. One is the Oracle of the Oedipus Rex. Second is the Oedipus Rex at Colonus. The continuation of the story comes in the next part. That is the Oedipus at the Colonus, whereby Oedipus, as per his wish, after getting the permission from Oracle of Delphi, would be sent out of the kingdom of Thebes, accompanied by his 2 daughters, Antigone and Ismene. Remember the previous story, he has requested the king Creon to take care of the 2 children, 2 daughters, Ismene and Antigone. No. Now in this next story, what comes? Now when Oedipus is going to go out of the kingdom, he is now blind, he cannot see. How can he survive? There should be someone to assist him. So his 2 daughters, Ismene and Antigone, is now pleading his father that they will be accompanying him to help his blind father to get food or to seek shelter or to serve him, which is going to be the greatest care which a daughter can do to his own father, or a sister can do to his own brother in the case. So that will be the next story. So that is what is going to happen to the King Oedipus after blinding himself. That will be in the next story. Actually, it is not related to our part. That's why I have stopped it there. But since the viewers are interested in knowing the story further, I've given a short gist to what happens to Oedipus after he blinds himself. Very good that people are interested in knowing the story further.
Okay, sir. Now it's up to Dr. Hibat.
Hello, sir. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Very well.
This is a big story, but I think that whenever there is, when we say, we convey a thing to the public, if the story is big, then the whole people will only attracted to the story, but not going back the philosophy or the theories. So I think that a small portion of it will help to develop. From that, the theory we can develop and we can show them. This is this is a foreign story and it is a myth. It is a big story and there are so many people are there, but we are confusing. Who is that person? Who is that person? Who is that person? Because all these names of the persons are not familiar with our day-to-day life.
Yeah.
So I think that a portion, some portion, and maybe sometimes it may be more helpful too, because now we are very much confused with many things. So okay, sir, this is my I say my opinion only.
Yes, sir. Your comments are very welcome. This is not like our religious scriptures, what we have been hearing from the day-to-day life. If I'm going to narrate a story of about Ramayana or Mahabharata, people will never get confused. They know who Kunti Devi is. They know who Janaki is. They know who Ram is, who Lakshman is, who are their brothers, Bharat, Shatrughan, someone. Every character in the religious tales, we know. We have been born and brought up with that particular stories. So we know these names are the religious scriptures given in the Greek literature. And fortunately or unfortunately, this rubric has derived from the Greek literature. So unless and until I narrate the story, if I'm going to say that Oedipus killed himself, blinding his own eyes, now people will ask me the question, why he has blinded himself? Okay, is it a war which has happened between two cities and his eyes were struck with an arrow? It is not the tale. If I'm going to say that he married his own mother, Queen Jocasta, and people will be questioning who is Jocasta and why he married, for which I have to tell the whole story. A gist of the story is never sufficient to complete it. So I have to narrate the characters of the story. And this is actually a big book, which I have summarized within this 45 minutes so that people will understand the background of the story and can understand who Oedipus is, who Tiresias is, who is Oracle of Delphi, who is King Laius, who is Queen Jocasta, and everything. And I hope if you can read this literature, the book is very much available in the Amazon, Flipkart, or any kind of online shopping websites, or even in the booksellers even. If you can read this book further, the Oedipus Rex written by Sophocles in the English version, I think you can know the story better. Once or twice, if you are reading away, then the story will be very crystal clear to you. And you can process away the further parts, that is Oedipus complex in psychology, which will be there in the next session. Yes, any more questions?
You have well answered. You have well answered that. You have well answered that.
Hello.
Thank you, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes,
Hello,
yes.
can I
And now it's up
speak?
to
Can I speak?
Dr. Hari. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. Very interesting story, doctor. See, in epics, we can see such characters. That is the brilliancy of the author. See, like Vyasan, he has narrated one character in Mahabharata, that is Shavani. We can see such persons in our social order. We can see Shavani syndrome. But what Shavani did is in true, see, we in society we can see such persons. So by telling the word Shavani, the meaning will automatically come.
Exactly.
Likewise, in Mahabharata, see, in Gandhari, see, closed his eyes for her lover, for her throughout her life. But at the end of the time, what Krishna told, that you done a crime, that your husband is already
blind.
But the thing, you should open your eyes.
Yeah.
No, don't be closed.
Yes.
In such ways, in Epis, we can see a lot of scenes like that. So you narrated the story, Oedipus and Oedipus complex came to see in our, it is not shown in our repertory, but one Oedipus complex is still in our society.
Yeah.
That is unknown. That is unknown. But we don't know. It is not come to the light.
Sir,
okay, doctor. It is a nice presentation. Nice.
Thank you so much, sir.
Nice.
And as doctor said here, could I speak a few words?
Okay.
Dr. Ganesh?
Yes.
As doctor suggested now, कि Gandhari has blinded herself for their whole life. If there is a rubric called as Gandhari syndrome, right, which is there in the repertory. If I'm going to take a topic on this particular Gandhari syndrome, and if I'm going to tell the viewers that there is a syndrome called Gandhari syndrome, and that is based upon Gandhari, we know the tale.
Okay, correct.
And if I'm going to suppose if I'm going to narrate the tale to a foreigner, they'll never know who Gandhari is. Now, in this case, you are foreigners to whom I'm narrating a Greek story.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
Because to a foreigner, if I'm going to say the Gandhari has blinded herself, they will ask me the question, why did she blind herself? And if I'm going to say that her husband was blind, now what was the thing that why her husband was blind? There was a story behind that also.
Okay.
Because every story is connected to one or the other.
Okay,
there is a
sir.
link. No.
And
the doctor has said that whether this particular syndrome is there in the particular society or not. Yes, it is there. I have given few examples in the next session even.
Okay.
Whether Oedipus complex is there in the real life. Yes, it is there. I have given some examples. I will share with you in the next session so that you can come to know what is Oedipus complex in the real life.
And it's a very good discussion going on. And now it is the time to wind up the session. Now I invite Sri Paediatrics to say a word of thanks to this session. You're muted, sir. Once again, please.
Okay.
Yes.
Very interesting story. I don't want to elaborate my words, spending more time on that. Excellent conclusion, and we are expecting more and coming sessions of your presentation. Thank you very much on behalf of every one of this noble forum. Thank you very much. All the best. Good night.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you. With that, we come to
Doctor, see you again.
Yes, sir. Very soon. Very soon. Pleasure has been mine.
the end of the session.
Right.
Yes. It's a,
Ganesh doctor, net problem.
he's presenting a paper on.
Okay.
Yes. Yes. And now it is up to Dr. Hubert to continue with my.
Thank you, Dr. Ganesh. ഇന്നങ്ങനെ മലയാള സെഷനിലോട്ട് കടക്കുകയാണ്. എല്ലാവരെയും സ്വാഗതം ചെയ്യുന്നു. ലോകത്തിൻ്റെ നാനാഭാഗത്ത് നിന്ന് ഇപ്പോൾ കേട്ടുകൊണ്ടിരിക്കുന്ന മലയാള ഭാഷയിൽ നമ്മുടെ ഈ വെബിനാർ 1048 ദിവസങ്ങളിലേക്ക് കടന്നിരിക്കുകയാണ്. സഹസ്രമൊക്കെ കഴിഞ്ഞു, നമ്മൾ അടുത്ത സഹസ്രത്തിലേക്ക് പ്രവേശിച്ചിരിക്കുകയാണ്. ഇതിന് ഇന്ന് നമുക്ക് നമ്മുടെ അതിഥി എന്ന് പറയാമോ എന്ന് എനിക്കറിയില്ല. നമ്മുടെ ജോയിന്റ് സെക്രട്ടറി തന്നെയാണ് അതിഥി, നമ്മുടെ മീഡിയ സെല്ലിന്റെ ആള് തന്നെയാണ് നമ്മുടെ അതിഥി. ഏതായിരുന്നാലും ഡോക്ടർ യഹിയാണ് ഇന്ന് നമുക്ക് വേണ്ടി ക്ലാസ് എടുക്കാനായിട്ട് വന്നിട്ടുള്ളത്. ഒരു നിമിഷം നമുക്ക് എല്ലാവർക്കും പ്രാർത്ഥിക്കാം, നല്ലൊരു ക്ലാസ് ലഭിക്കുന്നതിന് വേണ്ടിയും എല്ലാവർക്കും അത് ഉപകാരപ്രദമാകത്തക്ക രീതിയിൽ